Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV Live with another late night show, late night discussion. And this time around, we're going to be talking about how, not Eddie Howe, but how is an HOW. It affects us. The Man City win over the Premier League, the ATP stuff, the sponsorship stuff. How does that affect Newcastle United? Well, we're going to discuss it. The Mighty Wayne has been doing his research. He's been working hard. He's been talking to the Man City directors. They've been giving them information. He's the ITK of the channel. And we're going to give our opinion, of course. We got a few things lined up. We got some videos to show. We got Sky Sports reported on, of course. But this almost feels like a really good victory for Newcastle United. By the way, you guys got to unmute yourselves. I can't do that for you. But we're testing this new program. Hopefully it's going well. So please let us know if the audio from each and every one of us is good. If anybody needs to turn up their mics, let us know as well. But first of all, thank you so much for the support that you guys have been giving us. Today we put up a new video. The DX thought I was blowing kisses to people. No, it's just a shocked face. It's just oh my God, I was shocked that the city council chief came out and talked that, she prefers Newcastle United as a fan, prefers Newcastle United to play at the city center. But she is the new chief, so everything that she says in the next few months will be highlighted, of course. But that video did well, so appreciate you guys, supporting that, giving the likes, and please do the same thing with this show right now. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. I think we're 5 short of 3,000. Five subscribers is short. 5 subscribers short of 3,000. So great milestone. We are in our 11th month of existence, and we are just right there to hit 3,000. I think we've done well. But let us know what you think also about whatever we're talking about in the chat. So we got the Mighty Win, we got Gary, we got DXK. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Doing very good.
Doing proper.
Proper.
I'm definitely. I don't know if DX has headphones or not, because I'm definitely hearing myself.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can find some.
Yeah, matey. But well, how do you guys take this whole? Is it a game changer? Does it really need to get Newcastle United fans excited and throw parties, throw the house out the window, as we like to say in Spanish? Do we really need to do that? Can we immediately start getting Aramco to come and pay us $200 million a month on a sponsorship? Can we do anything like that, or are we still just spectating what's going to happen? Mighty Wayne, going first, man.
Well, as you say, I've been doing a deep dive into everything that's come out everywhere. And sadly, it isn't the overwhelming victory and opening the doors to billions coming in that we may think it is. It could be, but right at this moment of time, it isn't. We'll come on to what I think we should do later on. But essentially, both sides are claiming victory. Man City are claiming victory, and as the 175-page report clearly says, they have won on 2 counts. They only had to win on 1 count to prove that the laws as they have been drawn up and are being interpreted by the Premier League right now are unlawful for a variety of reasons, and those reasons are important. The first is that they've brought into the equation, as far as PSR rules are concerned, interest-free loans. Because what Man City are saying is that if sponsorship deals can be looked at and be deemed to be not fair market value, then loans from associated parties should be equally looked at in that light. And for example, if you've got £100 million loan at 0% that you should be paying 5% on, that's £5 million should be coming off your FFP. As some of the clubs have got multiple hundreds of millions of pounds, that the amount of interest that they should be paying if it was deemed fair market value would almost use up half of their available spend, kind of thing. So that's the first thing that City have. The tribunal decided that City had proven that those rules, the interest-free loans, because of course that's another option that we would have to get an interest-free loan. They've proven that they are as anti-competitive as are the associated party transaction to do with sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
However, what the tribunal decided, and this is important because it goes to the overall, why was FFP introduced in the first place? And the Premier League argued and won, if you like, the case that FFP was introduced to prevent another Chelsea or another Man City coming along and buying the league. So they are saying that it should all be self-funded. You should be generating the income that you spend. You can't just have a sugar daddy coming in and spending as much as they want. And the tribunal ruled that the concept of keeping the Premiership competitive was, if you like, a moral, that wasn't unlawful. It was a good idea, for want of a better expression. So Man City have won on a couple of technicalities, if you like, but the Premier League also claiming victory in the bigger picture, that the idea is to stop unlimited money coming into the Premier League to effectively buy the league.
Right, but how would they do that if they effectively have lost their lawsuit? Do you think that they can implement more rules? Do you think that they can grab onto something?
They've had, they have already admitted that the rules need to be changed, which is why there's going to be a meeting next week of the CEOs, of the Premier League CEOs. So they are having a meeting next week to, they say, tweak the rules so that they become lawful instead of unlawful, which will, of course, involve them incorporating all of these clubs with £100 million interest-free loans, which is going to have some bearing on the equation.
Right.
But having said all of that, the other side of the coin.
Wait, hold on. Time out. We got to point the elephant in the room.
But the Premier League have also said that spending on infrastructure, in other words, spending on stadiums, doesn't count. Most of the money that the other clubs have borrowed is for building stadiums.
The elephant in the room is that DXK is like one of those girls that gets on YouTube and starts eating in front of the mic, because we are listening to everything this dude is doing, man. I'm trying to pay attention.
I'm not eating anything.
I'm trying to pay attention to damn Mighty Win, and all I'm hearing is. Oh my God, man! We gotta turn the mic down a little bit. It's okay. I got it.
My mic's working.
Oh man, dude, I'm listen. I'm hearing your digestive system go through as Mighty Win is trying to be serious about this. But look, my thing is, because you're mentioning those rules. Is there a civil war right now in the Premier League? Because because I just, everybody's saying the Premier League. Everybody's talking about the Premier League as if they are a bunch of numpties, and even I think, Mighty, when you've said that, well, the lawyers that Man City got had nothing on, or the lawyers the Premier League has nothing on the Man City lawyers. We're
Well,
acting as if
I've
we
never said that.
yeah,
But
you did
I've
say that
said
though. You
no,
said
no, I
we're
didn't.
acting as if the Premier League are just some poor guy that has no clue or influence. They are the entity that allows these teams to play on. But before we go into Gary and DXK, man, you guys gotta help me with his name, and you see him on the screen probably. Kabe,
Sokolo.
oh my gosh. Anyways, is there a civil war in the Premier League? Well, let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to. Let's take a listen to Sky Sports.
Quite a frosty atmosphere.
Do you hear
this
it?
is an emergency meeting
That's better.
that's been called to
better.
discuss how the Premier League is going to respond to this tribunal finding that elements of their financial rules are unlawful. Now, I think Manchester City, who bought the legal challenge, now believe that the tribunal's findings mean that all the Premier League's associated party transaction rules are void. Whereas the Premier League's position is that, look, the tribunal endorsed the ATP rules, but they have highlighted some areas where the rules don't comply with competition and public law, and we can quickly and effectively amend those rules so they do comply with competition and public law. So there is this split in how to respond to the panel's findings. It'll be interesting to see which clubs support Manchester City, which clubs support the Premier League. I've been speaking to one Premier League club owner who told me there is no civil war. The majority of clubs still support Richard Masters. We want the rules to stay, but we do accept that they need to be changed.
Okay.
Manchester City definitely have clubs who support their position. We know during the hearing, for instance, Newcastle United, Chelsea, Everton back them during the hearing. But we also know that quite a lot of Premier League clubs back the Premier League's position. And at the moment, I think the majority of Premier League clubs are supportive of Richard Masters and the executive.
Wow. Interesting, ladies and gentlemen. There is no civil war to my man. We're gonna call him KS. And by the way, Beerback can say he's a puppet, which I've seen. I've seen this guy say things that I'm like, I need a job at Sky Sports, and I make sure to get paid more than this guy. But regardless, he's saying that there are teams that back the. That's what I'm saying. They're gonna have a meeting next week, Gary, and it's not always just because they won or found something. That doesn't. They're still gonna have to meet up, and the rule, the rule of the law, as far as the Premier League is concerned, I'm sorry, the FA or whatever, is every team has to vote for a change. And is every team going to vote in favor of Man City and Newcastle?
No, 14
No, but
teams.
I think this is
Well-
where, to me, the Premier League have virtually got a civil war action going on themselves because of the way it is set up. When you're asking for teams to vote for themselves in a good position, then you're always going to have certain teams, again, the cartel, that are going to support for them to continue being at the top of the league. So they're not going to be influenced by the likes of Newcastle coming in through the back door, rich owners that can throw money at them, because it's going to jeopardise their Premier League status and Champion League status. So, of course, they're going to vote against us. And the problem is, it's like when, we were taken over on the 7th of October, and come the 12th, you'd got one CEO from, an unnamed club that had contacted the rest of them to challenge us, or to challenge the Premier League to change the rules. So that's the reasons why the rules are wrong, because they've been done so quickly. The wording to it is so wrong. And as Win alluded to before, yes, Man City have only won 2 out of the 25 cases put forward, apparently. but it's like being on trial for burglary. If I've done 2 burglaries and I'm being charged for 25, as long as they get the proof for the 2, the rest of them is immaterial. And it's exactly the same in this situation. So what's going to happen now? There's going to be obviously this meeting that's arranged next week, and from that you're going. I mean, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in this meeting, to be fair, because there's going to be a lot of embarrassed faces in and amongst this table. But to go again and look for these, excuse me, these 14 votes, which is your majority, going again in exactly the same example, what do we expect to change? Because you know exactly what they're going to vote for, and that's not going to support Newcastle. They're going to vote for themselves, and that's what happened the last time.
Exactly.
Until something independent that's not involved in the Premier League, that doesn't involve the clubs, oversees this type of legality, then you're always going to have something dodgy within the Premier League regarding the cartel. So
Yeah.
for me, it's a case of it needs to go outside of the Premier League, and the voting system needs to be done either independently, where they come in and ask for opinions, but it should be like this, this session with Man City, where it was 3 retired judges. Maybe something like that, where you can go out and say, these are the rules. What do you suggest? Is it legal? Is it not? Get on with it.
Interesting. DX, what do you think? Do you think this? First of all, I don't know if you know this, but I don't know who knows this, but in the question before I get to DX, can that voting thing be changed, or is that more like English higher bureaucracy, where it has to be a type of democracy? But we know the democracy. Look, the top teams don't want it. The very top red teams don't want it changed. The smaller teams, what is it to them? They're not going to buy
Brighton.
Mbappe anytime soon.
Brighton don't want it.
So it leaves it leaves a small amount of teams, DX, to make this vote for a change. And I'm kind of lost, because if the Premier League voted that this is not legal, that should be it. It needs to be annulled.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the minority, aren't we? There's 5 clubs. That's it, I think, that were backing Man City's stance, I think including Man City. So it's a bit of a tough spot that we find ourselves in. We're kind of like battling against the odds a little bit here. So like Wynne said earlier, I don't think it's the silver bullet that we hoped it might be. We were hoping it might be the big change, and all of a sudden £300 million sponsorship deals are announced and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think that's the reality of it. I think there's conflicting stories. There's a lot of ambiguity. We don't know who's come out on top. Some things sound like Man City might have a change and making a change to the current rules, but I don't think that we're going to see anything drastic at the moment. There's a lot more to rumble, isn't there, at the moment? So we're all hoping for change here, obviously, but
Well,
I think we are in the minority.
There's a couple of things. One is that only today the Etihad chairman has come out and said that every penny effectively what he said is every penny we've spent on sponsorship at Manchester City has been worth its weight in gold, because of the coverage that their brand gets with Man City having been as successful as they are, and with Man City competing in the Premier League, which is seen all over the world. So he has said that the deal, which the Premier League deemed unlawful in terms of their rules, the Premier League deemed that they were excessive, for want of a better expression. He said it was worth every penny, and it took a lot of negotiation.
Right. And they had two sponsorships that were vetoed, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah. So what I think we should do now, and we're jumping the gun a bit, I probably think, but what right now, before they have another meeting, before they've got time to change the rules, we should go in now and do any deals we possibly can to get hundreds of, literally, no, let's play them.
But how will it work? How will that work? We'll
Because
get penalised again.
They dare not challenge those contracts, because they'll know that if they do, we can use this as precedent. Precedent's a great thing in British law, and say that when they did this to Man City, it was proven to be unlawful.
Well, that's another way of looking at it, to be honest. I mean, because if they are allowed to do and they can walk free Man City, what stops Newcastle United? I mean, really. But I think Newcastle though are
No.
not.
The point is they did stop Man City.
Yeah,
Man City had these
But,
sponsorship deals lined
that's what I'm
up,
saying,
and the Premier League said you can't do those,
but what I'm saying is they
which
couldn't
is why
stop
they
you.
brought the court case.
They couldn't stop us because right.
That's right.
It's been fun. But I think Newcastle won't do that because I think we are too careful.
Squeaky clean.
We're towing the line, aren't we?
We are too careful. We're not even, as far as the hierarchy of Newcastle is concerned, we're not even. We're like a ghost in the air that's just flying around. They're not in it.
Apart from the Vlachodimos Anderson deal, apart from that was the only controversial thing we've done, I guess, that I can see.
Yeah, but
anyway.
you say that, Don, and to me, this is where I get a little bit annoyed with this, because obviously now we've seen these interest-free loans from shareholders come on board. Why didn't we just get a loan to keep us, below the PSR ceiling? If it was such a rush job to get rid of two young prospects, so obviously, and you've heard Eddie say that he didn't want to sell these kids. Why didn't they just do a bridge loan, interest free, like every other club has done, to support it? If it's not illegal to do, as
Would that
now
have
they're
worked?
starting to change the rules.
Thank you, Mighty Mag, for gifting the membership, and that has gone to Hamiao.
Me.
Hamiao. Well, I'm sure it's a meow, because it's a cat picture. So you were gifted that membership. Thank you and welcome to the channel. Thank you, Mighty Mag, of course. Thank you to everybody that donates to the channel. Appreciate you so much. But
Interesting point, though, Gary. That's an interesting point you make. Win, do you have like an argument against that? Because you seem to know the most about the PSR side of things. Would there have been a counter argument?
Mighty Wins are Kieran Maguire.
Yeah. Well, it's more like Harry Maguire.
I've put it this way: I've been reading an awful lot. I've been reading an awful lot of what Kieran Maguire's been writing, and Swiss Ramble, and everybody else who's posting. Everybody. They couldn't. The way I've seen everything panning out, they could not stop us. If we could do a deal with Saudi, with Aramco, and with Saudi Telecom tomorrow, they could not stop us. And whatever deals would do,
but
would be set in
there's
stone.
got to be a reason as to why they haven't done it or not doing it.
There'd be other clubs.
And by the way, people, because you say let's get something done in this week, but look, we have to understand one thing, because I said it on one of my videos that I posted during the day. People act as if Al Rumayyan, who is the chairman of PIF, is just handling everything and managing everything, has a say so and everything, which I'm sure he ultimately could okay most things. He's the boss of everybody. But all these are billion-dollar corporations. They're companies, like a football club, like a Aramco. They have their own managers. They have their own CEOs. They have their own. So I don't see how we just make it. Let's have a deal in 1 week and as many as we can. I think it's unrealistic because they still have to. It has to make sense. PIF are not just going to say, you know what, Aramco, go broke. I'm assuming Aramco. Aramco's got.
It's going to be a paper deal.
It's got so much money, it's not even funny. But any other company, they have to also. It has to make sense for that company to just put money in Newcastle. They're not going to go broke doing it. So.
But you're saying do it in a week. These deals have been getting stacked up for months now.
You think
months
so?
And months. Yeah.
You think we got deals in
that's one of the arguments Man City was taking, wasn't it? Because they were saying that it's taken over 3 months to even ascertain whether the sponsorship was valid. And the other argument was, obviously, they couldn't see what they were putting the sponsorship against to get a fair market value. So, which again is illegal, because you don't know whether they're, on even par. So if say Man City have come in for, I don't know, an airline, say, and then all of a sudden they're competing with I don't know, Nottingham Forest for the next one who had a similar thing. It could be like chalk and cheese regarding the amount of sponsorship you're going to get from that thing. And because it was all hidden and it wasn't in view, they said, how can we ask for a sponsorship on a value when we don't know what to value it against? Because Premier
Right.
League have obviously hidden all of the past sponsorship deals
so-
from other
somebody-
teams.
This gets back to what they're calling the database.
Yeah, that's right.
So the Premier League have a database where every single sponsorship deal is logged, but clubs aren't allowed to see it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The Premier League have got this, so we can't say.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
The only way you can get that information is from the individual clubs' published accounts, as and when they're published. Whereas the Premier League have got this database, which was, well documented in the tribunal and in the findings, and one of their wins was the fact that the Premier League are referring to this database, but they're not allowed to see it.
well,
And that's completely against the principles of any fair trial.
okay. Now, you have a point. I can see both things on that though. I mean, why if Ipswich says, "Excuse me, PL, can I see what Liverpool has for sponsorship?" But in a court case, that shouldn't even be a question. Everything should be put out in the open. We spoke about the emergency meeting. What is this emergency meeting about? We're gonna take a listen to Cielo Sports. That's what Cielo is in Spanish, by the way.
Welcome
Scott.
back. We start with some breaking news. In light of today's tribunal ruling on Manchester City's challenge to the Premier League's APT rules, which has left both City and the league claiming victory, well, this evening it's emerged that the league's member clubs will hold an emergency meeting next week to discuss the matter. More on that as we get it. Welcome back. We start with some...
There you go. Well, so it didn't tell us a damn thing. They just said they were gonna have a meeting. But thank you so much, Ian Fleming, for that kind and wonderful gift of membership, and that has gone to Jordy Mick. Jordy Mick, I've seen Jordy Mick before. Got the Brazilian flag on. Jordy Mick, I've seen Jordy Mick way before though. That's when way before Guimarães flag. There you go. Shout out to Jordy Mick. Please renew your membership, my friend. I mean, I still don't know what the meeting is about, because if it's do you think they're going to do
It's
the
about changing
voting?
the rules
Yeah, but I mean,
to make them lawful.
but what I'm trying to tell you is, I don't know who hit the studio. I like studio mode on, but what I'm saying is, if it's unlawful, that should be eradicated. It shouldn't even be. Or you saying that for the new rule?
Yeah, what the Premier League are claiming victory. They're saying Man City won a couple of.
And that's what I'm trying to get at, because nobody knows who won.
Well, they're both claiming victory, but Man City have definitely won, because Man City have proven that the existing APT rules as they stand are unlawful, both in the way that they're interpreted, in the way that they are policed, and in the way they are developed. They have said that they are unlawful, and the independent tribunal has agreed with them on that point. End of story. They have won that case. They have proven that the APT rules are unlawful. What the Premier League are now trying to do is to tweak those rules, so that they are no longer unlawful. Now, if that involves having to divulge the database, if that involves having to incorporate interest-free loans, that's what they'll have to do.
Now, shout out to Random Access. I love this comment. This is by far the most sensible discussion on this subject I've heard. Love this channel. Thank you so much, Random Access. You are a member. Somebody, I don't know if he became a member yesterday or something happened. He became a member, or maybe he was gifted a membership. I don't know. But if you were gifted one, don't forget to renew your membership, mate. I do have a clip though. Now I have this clip right here from Sky Sports that is saying Man City's general counsel Simon Cliff has sent a letter to the other 19 Premier League clubs accusing the league of misleading them over yesterday's award on APT
Oh.
rules.
When
So
did that come
now,
out?
well, we're gonna take a listen to my favorite pundit right here. She is from Scotland. So my DX.
Do you want me to do the accent? She's from Scotland. She's a lovely lady, lovely lass, and she'll fill in the details now.
Okay, there we go. Let's take a listen.
Right, this just into us. Manchester City's General Counsel Simon Cliff has sent a letter to the other 19 Premier League clubs accusing the league of misleading them over yesterday's award on APT rules. The Premier League rejects the notion in Cliff's letter, Sky Sports News understands, which claims several inaccuracies exist in the Premier League summary of the tribunal's findings. The summary was emailed around to clubs yesterday following the verdict, and Cliff responded by attempting to clarify several points. Regrettably, the summary is misleading and contains several inaccuracies, Cliff wrote in the email seen by Sky Sports News. Of even greater concern, however, is the Premier League's suggestion that new APT rules should be passed within the next 10 days. When the Premier League consulted on and proposed the original APT rules in late 2021, we pointed out that the process, which took several weeks, was rushed, ill thought out, and would result in rules that were anti-competitive. The recent award has validated those concerns entirely. The tribunal has declared the APT rules to be unlawful. Manchester City's position is that this means that all of the APT rules are void and have been since 2021. Of course, both City and the Premier League claimed partial victories following the tribunal's findings on Monday, with the league believing that the three judges to have endorsed the overall objectives, framework and decision-making of the APT system. The arbitration panel found the 2021 rules and their 2023 updates to be unlawful because they excluded shareholder loans, but the Premier League believes City had been unsuccessful in the majority of their challenge. Well, Cliff told clubs in his letter that it was peculiar that the league had said this in its summary. Cliff went on to say, while it is true that Manchester City did not succeed with every point that ran in its legal challenge, the club did not need to prove that the APT rules are unlawful for lots of different reasons. The Premier League declined to comment, but stands by its summary and rejects any assertion that it was either inaccurate or misleading. Sources close to the league also stress that the club's meeting called for next Thursday will simply be an opportunity to discuss the rules, that no votes on amendments to the rules will be taken. So yeah, quite a lot to digest there. We will bring...
Yeah. All right. So that was what's her name anyway?
No idea.
No idea.
Becky McTavish.
The Scottish lady. That wasn't good, was it?
Scottish
But well, interesting. You know, would you look at that? The Premier League, but I mean, Man City is saying that the Premier League has been misleading
This
every
has
other
been
team.
the ping pong that's been going on
But
since he announced.
but if they're having a meeting to change the rule so the Premier League are saying we need to change the rule, although Man City might be saying there is nothing to be changed because that it's eradicated. That needs to be taken out the window. It's illegal. So we got to come up with a new rule. So essentially, it's the same damn thing next week. Coming up with a new
It'll be
rule.
rewritten, wouldn't it? That's literally why I'm not getting excited yet.
Yeah, it would just be a
Because
slight
as much as if you read in between the lines, the document was obviously was done within 5 days. It's not been written correctly, and that's what they've said. And there was one, and I can't remember where I read it now, but there was one really lovely paragraph, I suppose, is more or less the three judges, the three retired judges that sat on the tribunal said that it's illegal to do what you've done, but it's not an illegal rule, it's illegal the way it's written down. So I interpret that as in it will still be passed, but won't be as stringent as it is at the moment. And obviously, as Wynne says, the data bank should be there for people to see and witness what it's been, marched against, if you like, because it has to be of a similar ilk. And like I say, the teams have to be of the same value. The sponsorship deals then have to be of a similar mirror value. And then when you look at that, in a nutshell, I don't think, like I say, we can come out waving the flag saying that we've won. I think what we can say, and I think that's the reasons why you've not seen much from Newcastle, to say that we are going straight for sponsors, because at this present moment in time, it's still on the back burner because we don't
Yeah.
know how much we can actually get
Exactly.
for sponsors.
And we just don't know, Mighty Wayne. So I mean, your theory
Well,
is gone, man.
I was trying to untangle your first paragraph there, Gary, when you were saying.
So the three judges said that it's written wrong. It is unlawful the way it's written down. Okay, so that is
Right.
what the three judges in the tribunal said. So in the way I interpret that, and I may be totally wrong,
Right. The way
if I rewrite it so it's not illegal, it still means the same, but it's just written in a different way.
Okay.
So it's gonna be the same sort of thing.
First of all, you've said that they've got to show the database.
Yeah.
Now that's important because that means whatever the top deal is for a stadium, whatever the top deal is for a strip, whatever the top deal is for everything, Newcastle can go and get that.
And match it, yeah.
And so we can match whatever anybody else is getting. Because
But
that
only in our section, right? Like West Ham, and we can't match what.
No. We're in the Premier League. This is the club that's writing the rules.
Yeah, but I
But
thought
this
If
is
somebody in that club is allowed to get X amount, we are allowed to get X amount.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
think
you
that's how it works. Okay.
you see. Well, this is what I'm saying. This is where I think it'll become a civil war if they don't relax the ruling. I don't think it should be 14 clubs that need to vote.
Yeah,
I
11.
think I think sometimes, like I say, the Premier League are a rule to themselves under this jurisdiction, and if Masters does look at the red cartel of being the ones like winning the X, more or less alluding to there, where your top six are, then you've got your next six, then your next bunch. So you've got three tables within the Premier League, then you're never going to win anything. And
No,
that's why
because
it
they're
has to
always
be
going to pull further away.
That's right. So it has to be, and that's why it's anti-competitive, because the people at the bottom are never going to be able to match the people at the top. So unless these rules are changed, it's going to remain anti-competitive, because
Yeah.
the team at the top, the top six, will always want the cream off the top of the coffee before
So-
they share the rest of the drink.
So it's interesting though, because every deal I was watching Sky Sports, and this point was brought out. Kind of, I think what B. Riken is wanting to say says we cannot go out and match the highest deals. We have to prove the same value. I think they're trying to find something where every sponsorship or deal is like players, like market value. The same with and I don't know, and I think to a certain extent it's pushing the envelope, because I mean, how do you know how much a deal? Because if I'm selling something, if I'm selling my car at £1 million and it's worth £30,000, more than likely nobody will buy it. But if one numpty comes around and gives you $1 million, why is that illegal?
Yeah, it's a good point. But isn't it with affiliated sponsorship? It's
Well,
not any. So if Red Bull came in and said we'll give you £1 billion,
Associated parties.
yeah. So if Saudi
that's not
Air,
linked,
or
is it?
whatever. Yeah. So as long as it's not linked, but then that's harder to get the sponsorship because they're not going to pay over the market value, are they? Whereas if you get someone linked to PIF, obviously they might just
No,
inflate.
but like for example, Team Sport are sponsoring Man United shirt. Whatever
Right.
Team Sport are paying to sponsor Man United shirt, seller can pay us.
Would Seller be an associated party though?
Yes.
Yeah, seller and associated party.
So then, how would we get that wave through? That would be a bit.
yeah. How did we get that one then? Because I mean,
Because that's the mark. We're proving what
Yeah,
the
but
market
we
value
25
is.
million.
Yeah.
They're at
Hold on,
25
give
million.
me-
The market value.
hold on.
Wow, random access. thank
Random
you.
Access, Random Access, right there doing proper work.
On for your
Says,
DSK, come on.
there we go. See, Random Access gift our membership is going to Parwinder,
Parvinder.
Parvinder,
Harvinder.
Carl Little, Joe Linton, J7 is in there.
Actually,
Gotta
Joe
get the
Linton
membership.
got that.
Glad he's watching.
Matt. You know what's crazy about that though? People, what if a player really put his name out there thinking, people will definitely not think it's him.
Well, he's not playing
I'm
for Brazil, is he? So
yeah.
No, exactly.
Matt is going to Matt, and also Ray Figgin. Ray watches a lot of the Extra Time shows, so welcome all of you, and thank you so much. And please renew your memberships And thank you to the one and only Random Access. He was asking that question, but we were going. And thank you to the mods for helping him direct them to the right direction, to the right place. A lot of directions there. But thank you
Don't forget
for
to
for
subscribe.
letting them know.
That's the main
Yes,
thing.
subscribe to the channel.
Come on, we need 5 more. 5
Well,
more.
I do want to show something here that has caught my attention. Listen, I have no clue whether this is real or isn't real, and really, this could be faked quite easily, to be honest. But somebody retweeted this, and but just to show it, I guess. I don't know if you guys can read it, but right here. Have you can't
That's
read it?
real. That's
No, I've
directly
seen
that's
that
directly
one
from the
before, yeah.
findings.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's unbelievable because right here. This is supposed to be for the rule change or whatever that it was found illegal. They clearly
12th.
mention Newcastle United. So if anybody's saying, if any other team, because we've had some comments on the videos that I've made earlier that tells you Newcastle fans deluded, think everybody's against you. It's not about thinking. Right here, Newcastle United is named. No other club. On 20 here says, on October 7th, 2021, Newcastle United was acquired by an investment group led by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. The next one says, on October 12th, 2021, all that is blacked out. So I'm going to continue. Emailed the Premier League on behalf of his club and 10 other clubs in the league. In that email, this team or person or whatever requested that notice be given of a vote in 5 days' time, sooner if permitted, to introduce a short-term ban on any related party transactions of any kind. This rule should have the widest possible definition of a related party, meaning they don't want to leave room for nothing. It has to be, basically literal. They can't get nothing. They can't get no money.
No. And that's what I said. That's 5 days after our takeover.
5 days. Perhaps using the takeover code. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. This because it's saying to the widest possible definition of related party. Perhaps they're even trying to help the Premier League change how they're going to change the rules. They're helping them type it even. Perhaps using the takeover code definitions when applied to companies like those in the Gulf region. And let me just finish right there. The rules covering related party transactions and new cost control measures, together with any sanctions for breaches, should be formulated by the Premier League legal and financial teams with support from a working group of club CEOs who can volunteer. This is unbelievable. I have another one too. So, Gary, sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say, it's the bottom paragraph that just makes you laugh. It's funny how these CEOs all of a sudden will work for free. They'll volunteer. They'll come and give you a hand to
Just to
support
stop
you.
anyone else catching them up.
The other thing that it specifically says the Gulf region. Doesn't say anything about USA.
Exactly. The rule should be on anything. It doesn't matter where the money comes from.
Insane.
This is borderline xenophobic, to be honest.
It is, absolutely. It's
It's
not
absolutely
borderline.
It's not borderline.
It is.
Because, and they're even, whoever this is blacked out. I don't know, they
Well,
blacked out.
why is it redacted? Indeed.
Yeah.
This is the other.
And by the way, if it was a single name, it would just be a short little black mark. This whole black mark right here on October 12, 2021. Look at all these.
Yeah, but
It could be a lot of teams.
Title. That could be their title.
No,
It's,
just for example, it could well
leverage.
say Levy, chairman of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I'm just saying that as an example.
As an example.
What it could possibly be.
They certainly have to do,
Thank
be
you, Hells.
appropriate. But
Thank you, Hells,
but in my negative mind, it could say Liverpool, Man United, Manchester United, Arsenal Football Club, etc.
No, it's one person on
Okay,
behalf of another 10 clubs.
All right. Well, regardless, it's there. The 10 clubs. What are the 10 clubs? It would be interesting to know. Who are those guys?
Name the top six,
we know who the 10
top
clubs are.
Well, we don't know the 10, do we? We know.
Yeah, we know the 10.
There's
We know. We know
so hold on. But first of all, Helsuzar, thank you so much. You gifted the membership, mate. And that has gone to where did it go
Stephen
to?
Fawcett.
Stephen Fawcett.
Oh, that's okay, Stephen Fawcett. Mighty Win, you say you know the clubs. Who are the clubs? Because we know
Come on.
5.
We know Man United, don't we? Man United, Liverpool,
It's a shame, to be honest, that we know
it's Man United, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal. It's,
Chelsea in there.
It's
No.
no. It's
Okay, 'cause I was about to kill him.
The other London clubs: Brentford, Fulham, Crystal
Brighton.
Palace.
Brentford. Are you
It
kidding me?
is
Brighton are in there.
Bournemouth and Southampton.
Man, I tell Bournemouth, you better be lucky you're in this league, man. Next year, your boat don't matter.
Yeah, we need them out of the league, don't we?
I mean, just, come on, man. Don't you got
When I looked at the list, I haven't got it with me at the minute. I can get it.
But what have Southampton and Bournemouth got to gain from this? It seems like a pointless exercise.
Well, just
let me finish this one though. Let's finish the
Bournemouth.
because on 17, this is actually should have been before what we read, but it says Mr. Herbert. Who is that? It says Mr. Herbert gave evidence that the Premier League had been considering the need of amendments to the PSR over a period of years. This evidence was challenged by MCFC, Manchester City, and we deal with that challenge at 180, 185 below, which we don't see. However, it's highlighted. It is agreed that there was no evidence of any formal initiative before the autumn of 2021 to amend the PSRs in the manner of which they were amended in December 2021. So that just concludes the thing. Basically, just this is not. It has no legality whatsoever to it. But the first one is a killer to me, man. The first one is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, how they got away with this. You know, if the Premier League and the FA, nobody talks about the FA. The FA are in this, by the way. As much as they want to hide behind the Premier League, is that's the league that they are competing. You know, it's unbelievable that they have no morals. You know, allowing people to talk like this.
The Premier League are legally a separate entity.
Yeah, they are, but
completely to the FA, and the reason they are is because the FA gave them that autonomy in order to stop them breaking away from the rest of the Football League and to retain promotion and relegation.
David T, like I said, this is worth millions, this email. A lot more than millions, let me tell you.
We hope it's worth billions.
There's a few emails that Man City brought as evidence.
Man City were ready, I'm not going to lie. They were ready for it. They were ready for it, man. If I'm a Man City fan, I'm very happy with how they handled themselves because when they said I'm going to take Premier League to court, I didn't think they were going to win. I didn't think they were because you're challenging the main dog, which is the league, and but they had them by.
Fortunately, you say we live in Great Britain, which is a fantastic country, and we have rules and laws that we abide by.
Yeah, that is true, but come on, man. There's a reason why we're talking about the Premier League.
How big you are.
There's a reason why we're talking about the Premier League.
Congress here.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's not get into that, man. Colonists. Anyways, well, interesting stuff. Mighty Win, have you found anything else in your
No,
your
just
research?
The more I dug into it, the more disappointed I became, to be honest.
Oh,
why
really?
And why is that?
Because there are so many ways that the Premier League can squirrel out of it.
Are they going to weasel out of it? You think they're going to weasel out?
Well, they'll have to make some changes, obviously. So one of the ways we can win is because we're going to automatically have access to the database, so we can always just take the top line of every sponsorship deal. That's my opinion. Someone in the chat was disagreeing with that. But if Man United are getting £20 million a year for shirt sponsorship, so can we.
Right.
If Man City are getting £20 billion a year for their stadium sponsorship, so can we. Because we're competing in the same rules on the same level playing surface as everybody else. And to say that we can't do that would be unlawful, in my opinion.
Trying to see. Okay, let's go with some comments real quick though. We got a lot of them to have to share. Craig Lee, I want Newcastle to take the 11 clubs who ganged up on us to court, sidestep Premier League rules, and take the individual clubs to task instead. That would be good, but I think Newcastle are just trying to stay away from the mess, and just take advantage of the newer rules or whatever comes if something happens.
Well, that's what Man City are doing, isn't it?
But
Man
to be
City
honest,
are now going back in for damages. They
but
reckon
yeah,
160 million pounds from the sponsorship deals that they've been stopped
that's
doing.
right. That's right.
So,
They're slightly wrong there, Ronnie, because there's not going to be a vote next week. They're having a meeting.
Next
but
week
there
they're
ain't gonna
getting
be
the
a
clubs.
vote.
There's not going to be no vote next week. So what are they
No.
doing? I thought they're
They're
going to
just
come
trying
up
to
with.
adjust the rules, I think, aren't they?
it'll be a discussion about what the rules should be and shouldn't be.
How can we get out of this, lads?
Yeah, come on. How can we keep the
And
hierarchy as
but
it is?
bear in mind that when they called the meeting of the Premier League, but to instigate these rules, there was only 19 of them went. Newcastle
Yeah,
weren't
exactly.
invited.
Newcastle weren't
Weren't
invited,
invited,
which is
exactly.
insane.
That is, oh my god!
And surely
the
that
plot
has to
thickens,
count for
man.
something, doesn't it?
Dude, I'm telling you, if Newcastle decided to sue, they'll win.
That's anti-competitive, isn't it? You're not.
Yeah,
able
you
to
can't
absolutely.
keep me out of. I'm
one of your
telling you, man.
members.
But then again, I'm just keeping what I think. I think Newcastle are not trying to get messy, but I think they could have all these emails, everything else that they're doing, keeping us out of the meeting. The fact that they've been named in the emails, and the plot of other clubs saying maybe even it's like one of those dodgy and mighty win name emails. That he sends to people trying to come onto the show. He just got maybe even use the takeover code on it. Are you kidding me? How desperate were they, man? They were scared sick, man. I'm telling
Absolutely,
you.
they were.
I mean,
And
I think Keith, it's a really good point though. To be fair, I don't know whether anybody watched Keith
Kidani.
on Loaded.
Keith.
He's the lad from the
Downey.
Newcastle
Keith Downey?
Consortium, supporters consortium, I think. And he was saying
Oh,
that
Keith,
obviously
the
because
bald-headed Keith.
he's fair. I don't know whether he's
Yeah.
bald. To be fair, he's
Well,
fair.
I'm sorry. I was trying
He's quite. I wouldn't say he was as bald as the mighty, but I mean he's getting there.
It's fine.
But for me, he said because obviously the legalities about people of league clubs taking the Premier League to court or going against them,
Yeah.
it only takes the supporters to actually go to a QC and say, this is where we think there's an illegal statement or paper or whatever, and a QC can then take them as like a civil suit, more or less. And he says, even if you took 6 points, and we know there's more than one, and you win just the one, that backs everything towards Newcastle.
All right.
That's unbelievable. Let's go more comments though. Craig Lee, it says GTFL. I'm thinking Newcastle City, Chelsea. Newcastle City, Chelsea, Everton, and Forest will vote against the new rules. Probably Villa and West Ham too.
Yeah.
But that's not enough though.
Probably.
That's the
That's
problem.
7.
That's
That's
not
half.
enough. Random Act says the legal decision is a win for us, but it isn't a miracle or a get out of jail free card.
That's right, Random.
Queen of Heart, does it give balance or does it give more loopholes to the other loopholes already in place? Interesting
Yeah,
question.
interesting way of putting it.
Craig Lee, the meeting next week is to discuss the city APT case outcome. It's not to discuss any new rules.
Okay.
Says Craig Lee.
Well, no,
that
that's
true?
not true either.
Well, we heard what Skies was reporting. I forgot what she said. What was she was saying something like that. Hellsazar, there are a couple of petitions for the removal of Richard Masters. The latest one is being headed by one of the Gallagher brothers.
One of the Gallagher brothers, really?
Huey Gallagher. Anyway, no.
Yeah.
Well, Huey Gallagher would just walk up and shoot everybody up and said, let's get new people in. Richard Masters could be another topic of discussion. I mean, he's been in the limelight as of late. He's the one that makes these rules, right? I mean, other than people voting, I guess you can hide behind that. But
he says we have won this case.
Well, but you know what I think. Richard Masters.
So what does he do after he wins this case?
Christ.
He cancels his day golf with
That's
Sky.
unbelievable. I
and
read
with-
that too.
And with everybody else, he's completely changed his schedule. He's ditched loads of events he's supposed to be going to, but that's of course what you do when you've just won a case and everything's business as usual. Yeah, of course you
But
do.
I think it's more crazy that he's got a golf day instead of going to work. But
He's
you
full of
know,
it.
but
Well,
to be honest, I think
with
he's.
the league's biggest sponsor.
They're,
So you
they're
don't
trying to
turn
save
those down.
face.
But
you
but
know?
let's not.
They
Remember,
they lost the case to Leicester as well, didn't they? So
they did. So that's a second.
trying
That's
to-
a second one back to
trying to
back,
save
baby.
face a little bit. Yeah.
And you know, but the thing is with Masters, you can't, like I always say this, you cannot cover the sun with one finger, man. You can try, but you can't. And Richard Masters is just a puppet, man.
It's amazing how these people.
He's a
like,
puppet for Manchester United. He's a puppet for Arsenal. He's a puppet for Tottenham. He's a puppet for all these guys. So, I mean, it should be it should be somebody else, yeah. But they're going to appoint another puppet that's going to, you know, again, this email proves it right there. That email went to him. Says maybe even put this code, maybe even do that. We need to do this. We need to do that. Who's talking like that to the president of the Premier League? You know who talks to him. He's just a puppet. That's what he is. That's why. But more comments. Beer Viking, PSR, you can't spend more than you earn. Also, PSR, you can't earn more.
yeah, that's,
yeah,
true.
that's true. Which, to be honest, this could be the big loophole, legal loophole to PSR. If they say, you know, any sponsorship, do whatever, then who cares about PSR? Because ultimately, that's going to be taken care of. JJ, how can any agreement by the EPL supersede? Supersede. Oh my
He's
god.
left an E off the end.
Oh, yeah.
CED,
Supersede
should be.
UK competition law. No way. Well, they can't. Obviously, it's proven that he cannot. Craig Lee, there's plenty talks it could owe up the 180 million.
Yeah, that's what
by
my
the-
team was saying.
Oh, yeah. So they're gonna be
that's
sued.
the sponsorship deals that
They're probably going to do, you
lost.
know, I don't know how they're going to do with the 115 charges. I
Well,
don't know.
well
if
here's the thing, right?
what
If Man City turn around and say, right, you've got a choice here, and you know you're going to lose the first choice because we are going to sue you for £190 million, which is what you've cost us by not allowing us to have the 5-year sponsorship deals with X, Y, and Z.
drop the
So
drop the
we're gonna
115
We're going to
charges.
sue you for 190 million, or you can forget the 115 charges.
Yeah, but that is so evident, man. That is so evident. I think
They get done for corruption if they did that, surely.
yeah. I mean, you've got
Both
you can't do that.
There's
Something
too
is
much in
illegal.
the press now
No,
to do
no,
anything
no,
like that.
because essentially,
I like the idea, but
even though they were found
I
guilty,
like that idea.
they were found guilty by by UEFA
Mighty Wings crooked than a.
on those charges.
they're a
And they appealed it and got off those charges because they were banned from Europe, if you remember. But they got out of it
They
by
got out of that,
claiming that the evidence was time spent. Now the Premier League haven't got any time spent rules, so that's why they can still do it. Because all of these charges go back to 2006 to 2014. So, what they can argue, what Man City can argue now, having proven that the rules, these particular rules, these didn't come in until 2021. But if they can prove that those rules
DX, do you hear me?
are,
can hear you, yeah.
are you talking to me?
I'm talking to
hear
you.
DX privately.
Oh,
No, you're
well,
not.
I
It's
can
still
hear you.
open.
so
Did you guys hear me talk though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
could talk. We could hear you.
You can hear me say DX. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
no
thing
good.
doesn't work then. That radio
So
thing
that
doesn't work.
doesn't work, does it?
That's no good. Well,
Yeah,
lucky you
the-
didn't say anything controversial.
Yeah, no, man. But I do want to show you guys something though. And somebody, I think GTFL say, well, we can't take anything this guy says serious because they are in cahoots with the Premier League, which actually, I couldn't really, I could agree with that. to a
Can't
certain
take
extent.
anything which guy says.
But and with that being said as well, TalkSport on the other hand is the same way in this particular video that I'm not going to play. I don't know I forgot the old guy's name on the left, the Mighty Wind of TalkSport, and then the other and the other guy to the right.
This is Ben Jacobs, isn't it?
Jacob, I think Jacob, yeah.
Oh yeah, Jacob.
And so they were talking
Andy
about
Jacobs.
this at this whole situation, and they brought in an expert, which I want to get to Alex Kirk, what he had to say about this findings and everything else. But before this, for a whole 6 minutes, Baker and Jacobs, I mean, you thought they lost their pet. I mean, seriously. They were upset. They were like, yeah, but you can't just do whatever you want. You can't just spend all the money you want. What? Since when do we tell people how much money to spend? This is supposed to be a free, it's a free country, rule of law. Again, we get into the same conversation. You should, if you don't have the money, don't spend it. But that rule doesn't apply to every club. And so, but let's take a listen to Alex Kirk though when he joins the chat to explain to us exactly what he thinks has happened. He's another like Mighty Win financial expert.
Good afternoon, Crookie.
Good afternoon. How are we?
Very, very good. So some breaking news coming out of Man City, which is Man City were unfairly blocked from agreeing to 2 huge sponsorship deals earlier this year. The court has ruled that in my eyes, sets a bit of a not dangerous, but definitely a precedent for financial advantage, Crookie.
Yeah, I think certainly at the very least, the Premier League have been left with a bloody nose over this. We got a little bit of an indication, didn't we, a week or so ago when the Premier League held one of their regular meetings, and actually the prospect and the rules surrounding third-party sponsorship was taken off the agenda. They were due to discuss possibly tweaking those rules, and when it was removed, I think a lot of people put 2 and 2 together and thought, well, maybe Manchester City have struck victory in this case, and that is indeed what has happened. There's been a huge document sent to all Premier League clubs this afternoon. I was just sat there actually trying to decipher some of it. But basically, an independent panel of former judges have decided that these rules over associated sponsorship are unlawful. They're anti-competitive. And I think one of the key areas that they found in Man City's favour was that while other owners of Premier League clubs have been allowed to lend their respective teams money, often with very minimal or no interest. Obviously, clubs like Manchester City and Newcastle, and it's worth pointing out these rules were brought in after Newcastle's Saudi takeover, are being blocked from effectively taking sponsorship money.
Oh, Alex, your line is terrible.
Wow, the line. As soon as you said Man City, the line went badly. There we are. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy there, Andy.
Yeah.
But, if they can...
We're going to try to fast forward this until he shows up again. Well, or he doesn't show up again. So let's just listen to their take of what he said.
They can do that. We'll get Alex back. As soon as we can.
Still want to know exactly what it prevents clubs from doing, because otherwise, I mean, this would be great news for Newcastle, for example.
Yes.
The Saudi, if the Riyadh dry cleaners could suddenly put 100 million.
That's often the question from people is, why can Chelsea spend all this money and yet Newcastle can't when they've got sort of unlimited funds?
Because Chelsea have sold.
Yeah, Chelsea spent
sold their hotel. They sold their hotel.
No, to me it's unbelievable. How can that not be? What do you call it, Mighty Win? The shared party, whatever. That's what it is. How can it not be? The associated numpties.
Transaction.
So how can that not be though? That's what I'm trying to ask you.
This is what they were saying. It's a loophole that they found. It's like with the women's team. They sold the women's team amongst each
themselves.
other. Yeah.
How did they do that?
Would it be because Clear Lake owns Chelsea as well as Bowley, and maybe one didn't own the women's? Can it be that because PIF owns all of Newcastle? Even Mighty Win's house. So
no, they own 85%, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
The Rubin brothers own 15.
They do. Yeah, I mean, you're right in that sense. For legality reasons, you're right. So it couldn't be for that reason. But it has to be. How is that not associated parties, Mighty Win? You're a lawyer.
Listen. I said when we heard about it at the time, I said, how is this conceivably allowed? I still haven't been able to get to the bottom of that at all. But Chelsea seem to be just alone to themselves.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
They do their own thing, don't they? Spend 80 million on a winger and then sell a hotel.
Well, I think it's obviously got something to do with the fact that the club was bought from Abramovich because of his Putin connections. Excuse me. It was bought because of his Putin connections. So the government probably granted various, I don't know, relaxations in the financial terms and so on and so forth. That, you know.
Well,
Sorry. Go on.
3 years almost to the day that Newcastle was bought.
Yeah. We're gonna share that
gone
clip.
Monday
You guys want to do it
happened.
right now? Well, we can
I
share that
think-
clip.
yeah, go on.
Well,
I think I've seen
I have a question though. Has PSR affected us? Mighty win.
Has
course.
PSR affected, of course,
Yeah.
it's affected us.
Well,
DX.
yeah, of course, we had to buy a goalkeeper.
Gary.
And get rid of 2 youngsters.
Yes, of course.
Well,
It's
listen,
totally unjust.
I've been called this guy before, Simon Jordan, the Peruvian Simon Jordan. I've been called worse. I've been kissed harder than that, but I don't agree with him on this one. He came out and said, according to the title, we'll have to listen to what he said though, claims that it's not fair that FFP rules are restricted. I do agree on this. I'm sorry, I do agree on this and not disagree. Sometimes I do disagree though, but it's not fair that FFP rules are restricting Newcastle's spending. And he had a discussion with Martin Keown, former Arsenal footballer. And that should tell you a few things. So let's take a listen.
3 years, almost to the day, since the Saudis took over Newcastle United. What have they done in that time? What does the club look like today? Funnily enough, 3 years ago, I cast my mind back, and the man to my right simply wasn't having it.
This idea that Newcastle is going to get bought by this PIF fund, this is deader than a dead thing from Deadland. And it's only the people that want to keep it running for their own motivations, whether that's a
By the way, let me pause that. I agree with the title. I don't know what he's about to say, and I definitely don't agree with how we just started. Because let me just clarify that. Let's go.
Stavely because she wants to save face for the haulix of the deal that she's manufactured, or whether it's because Newcastle fans because they're wishing and wanting, and they're right to wish and want a change of ownership. They have every right to want that, but they also have to look at the reality of how this is going to play out.
And how it played out was not really deader than a dead thing from Deadland.
Indeed, and you have to give context, because within 20 minutes of me saying that, I got a text from a leading legal figure within the confines of one of the Middle Eastern organisations saying they have just done a settlement between BN
Yes.
and BOutQ, and the PIF fund have agreed, I believe, to pay £1 billion in compensation for the piracy issues surrounding the Saudi. That changed the dynamics, and I walked off air. I walked off air and I said to you, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah.
And the only reason, and Stavely and none of them could forecast this, was because they copped to piracy.
Yeah.
And the moment they copped to piracy, the game changed.
Yeah,
so they
I'll
can
put
have
it another way.
You can have your moments.
You were wrong.
You can have your moments.
Not for the first time you shot your bolt too early. Yeah,
so they paid £1 billion for those piracy rights.
The BOutQ is a broadcaster in Saudi Arabia that was effectively endorsed by state
we get all that.
And they
got it wrong.
They paid £1 billion.
Yeah.
For the hijacking of BN's Premier League rights.
Yeah, okay.
And of course, the moment they did that, there was no piracy issues anymore.
Yes, that's right. And that's
and
how
then they
it all
gave an
came
understanding
about.
that it wasn't the nation state that was owning the club.
So it was all quite
The
straightforward.
same nation state that was trying to own the PGA Tour.
They were always going to get
America.
their hands on the club. And Newcastle fans, quite amusingly, made T-shirts.
They did.
With dead
And
than
I
a dead thing
accepted
from
it well.
Deadland. And you accepted it well. To your credit, you did.
So they pay
Jackson.
£1 billion, and now we're questioning their commitment.
36 months on, Martin Keown, where is this club today?
Well, I don't think you should be questioning it when you're paying £1 billion. You've just said it all there, haven't you? I think they're trying to break into that stranglehold of the top four. They managed to get into the Champions League. There's a consistency issue in their team. I think they can't really push on. They're not financial fair play suggests they can't really make the difference. It's all they're waiting, but they can't use the money in the way they want to.
The comparison between what Man City did in 4 years, between 2008 and 2012, and what Newcastle did is not fair. First of all, Man City got sanctioned during that period of time for breaching financial fair play rules and copped to a sanction. And secondly, the regulations have changed, so it's not a fair comparison, because if Newcastle were able to do what Chelsea were able to do in 2003 and what Man City were able to do in 2008, which is unload a shed load of cash without any restrictions upon them, Newcastle might be in a situation where they'd be much further up the league.
So with that in mind, have they exceeded expectation?
I think No, because the expectations were based upon the fact that they're the richest club in the world.
That's right.
So whose expectations are we talking about? Sensible people in a room, or people that had dreams of delusions of grandeur, that they were going to buy their way to the richest players in the world, that Mbappe was going to rock up on the tune.
But
Those people were never you're not going to reach their expectations. But the real people that understood that potentially there was going to be some challenges to be able to overcome the regulations.
Are you including yourself in that?
I think it's unfair.
Oh, I see.
I think it's unfair. I think the
So it's all profit and sustainability related, is it?
Well, it can't not be, can it?
Right.
Manchester City spent hundreds of millions of pounds.
And you
as did
foresaw
Chelsea.
this.
They did that in infrastructure, didn't they, Man City?
I thought they might be able to overcome it because they had no big losses that Ashley had left behind.
Yeah,
But
right.
the reality of the rules tightening up now, I thought they'd price it into their model. The rules changed. So now they're getting points.
Right.
If Newcastle were able to take financial fair play with just finances attached to it, what do you think they'd do? Do you think they'd worry about it?
So
they would have done what they wanted to do.
What about the
Chelsea are doing?
Simon, what about the red tape that surrounds the development of the ground? Because obviously you talk about infrastructure payments, and Man City did a huge amount of things in the area of Manchester, didn't they? The stadium they inherited from the Commonwealth Games.
Oh, Man City.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they didn't have that expenditure.
Yeah.
But Newcastle.
But that doesn't affect PSR.
No, I know that. I know that. But why
then?
are they not committing then to the new stadium development?
Who?
Newcastle.
I don't know.
Because isn't that the first way? Isn't that the best way for them to enlarge their stadia?
Well,
Don't ask him, man. He got it wrong from the word go.
First of all, how's it going to bring anything?
Well, anyways, just a little bit of that discussion right there. I did.
Martin Keown obviously doesn't know about the friends in.
It pissed me off. It pissed me off to my core, where I was going to curse him out when he just tried to do that. The tune, it pissed me off to bits, that one, because typical Londoner making fun of. Making fun of us. But and I live in the south of America, not even north. But regardless, I didn't like that one.
Chris, before we move on to the next piece, just for information, you were asking about the Chelsea and the hotels. So the Premier League actually cleared a 76.3 million deal by the owners to sell 2 hotels at Stamford Bridge to another company they own. In April, the club's latest account showed that the Millennium and Copthorne Hotel were transferred from Chelsea Holdings Limited to Blueco 22 Properties, companies that are subsidiaries of Chelsea's holding company, Blueco 22. The deal appeared to be a move to help Chelsea ensure they stay in line with the Premier League profit and sustainability rule. So, it's there, it's in black and white.
It's in black and white. And the fact of the matter is that it's Chelsea who is not really in their side. Chelsea is like floating around at this point. It's like they are ashamed of their past, although it is their past. You see what I'm saying? They are ashamed maybe now, because now they call themselves a big club and all that.
Yeah, but what Chelsea also have that we'll not have for 10 years,
the youth academy,
is the youth academy, which was
yeah.
built under Abramovich.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All of their big chunk that they got under Abramovich is what's sustaining them now.
My point is that sort of flexibility of the rules, Chelsea selling themselves buildings, it happened with Chelsea, who is somewhat in the middle. And imagine what they could do to Arsenal, to Man United. Imagine what favors they could do to the ones that they actually are on their side. I mean, you can see these loans with zero interest.
Yeah,
loans
because
with
of
zero
COVID.
interest.
If you remember the COVID rule, where they got 40 million and everybody else only got $1 million because of the losses, because they were saying about the games that the tours that they had to obviously come away from now.
And as you remember, this season already, they got pardoned by or they got money, or they got their PSR got pardoned, or their faults, or they're beaten in red with PSR or whatever. They got pardoned because
if they hadn't have got that £40 million at that point, they would have been over the PSR.
Exactly.
So they would have been dock points.
And that is unbelievable. We didn't get nothing. We had to sell 2 of our best players.
Yeah,
Mighty Win doesn't care about Minte. Minte.
Why do you not care about Minte? You're not watching football properly if they use it. That's
you don't believe what this imbecile says, do you?
No, look. Mighty Win has said, and everybody's a witness. He said, why do people keep crying about a guy that never set a foot on, never played for us? He's not ours.
And what was the context of that statement? The context of that statement was, if having to sell Anderson and Minty means that we keep Isaac and Gamarish,
and
J7 and Gordon then it's a deal well worth
Yeah,
doing.
so it is justified.
Nothing
However,
to do about
you
how much
you
I
didn't
rated
you didn't
Minty
you
or
didn't
how much I rated Anderson,
Yeah.
who I rate very, very highly.
you didn't rate him.
Minty,
It's
I
okay.
think, is an unfinished
You
work.
preferred Anderson to Minte, didn't you? You were more
I would
invested
have
in
preferred Minte.
I was more
I prefer
disappointed
Minte.
that we lost Anderson than we lost Minty.
I felt
Made
like
no
Minte
sense.
was the special one. He could be a
Yeah,
special player.
Minte
Well, we'll
is
see.
exactly. See,
He's got it. He's
you
got
know,
it all.
he doesn't rate him. He doesn't rate him, man. But you know that's what it'll be really interesting to see
It's
how
sad.
this whole thing develops. I mean, what happens next week? We'll definitely have a show on that. You know, because what's going to happen after this meeting of these imbeciles that they're going to gather up and have this, those numpties. What rule are they going to come up? I don't even know. Some people say they're going to come up with a rule, or I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But
all I know is that I was over the moon when it was announced that Man City had won. But then since I've delved
Typical Mighty
into all
Wayne.
of the ins and outs of it, they're still
You feel
we're
humbled.
not in the clear yet.
we're never in the clear, man, because it just says it's illegal. But they're going to come up with another rule that fits their agenda.
Well,
You
maybe
know,
it'll be us that challenges that rule instead of Man City.
But
Maybe.
but I mean, in this case, you would assume the Premier League are going to be that stupid to commit the same mistakes twice. I
think
don't know.
that's the reasons why they're having this meeting, isn't it? I think the reasons why everybody will be around the table now is because everybody will have to draw a line in the sand. So we know it's unlawful for what they've done, and that's what I said. Somebody put an analogy of like if it was a football match, it feels like a 2-1 win to Man City, because the actual main points that Man City went against the Premier League for was the PSR, was this APT ruling, because it was totally unlawful. Where before, like I say, from 2008 to 2012, they were allowed to spend whatever they liked. Even in 21, they brought the PSR in to try and hold back clubs like of us coming through the doors and just throwing money down to go and buy the league. But then in 24, when we get a wealthy owner, they try and tighten the reins even more. And I think, like I said, if you were to look at it from an outsider in, it's probably like a 2-1 win to Man City, because the other points that they lost, the other 23 points that they lost, were smaller points. It's not going to bring bigger things, but I think the other points were more to the 115 that's coming obviously later on in the year. Because I think obviously, even though this is a totally different scheme, the idea is if Man City can win certain points against the Premier League, it gives them more of a head going into the 115 tribunal.
Yeah. Well, any last thoughts before we go to comments?
It's a 2-1 win in
At half time.
In a two-legged tie.
In a two-legged, exactly. That's what it is. Exactly what it is. In a two-legged match.
We will see. Let's go with some comments real quick. Jordan Tune for Life.
Yeah.
Sky back the Premier League. It's not the independent. It's not the independent view at all. Sky protect the Red Cartel. Just look at their daily shows. It's all Man U, Liverpool, Arsenal, day in, day out. Random Access says, don't at least 13 teams have to support a change before it 14. Can be implemented? 13, so it's 14. Okay. Yeah. Craig Lee says, I think the evidence of corruption and anti-competitive behavior from the Premier League and its members is the game changer. It's undeniable in a slam dunk in any court. Yep. Hel Cesar says, excuse me, but towing the line does not win your prizes. Towing the line just means you accept the inevitable. Well, but I do think that the Mighty Win. The Newcastle are just. I don't think Newcastle will get dirty. Simple.
No, I think we're being very compliant, aren't we?
And we're hoping that Man City win, and they did this time around. They did, but we'll see. Key 88. The city stance at the moment is that there are no ATP rules, whereas the Premier League deem rules still in place, but need tweaked. Lee and UFC, I believe Arabs don't believe in loans. I might be wrong, he says. No, if they got money, they're going to pay for it. That's what they did when it came to Newcastle, pay every debt. Newcastle is free owned, fair and square. Craig Lee, they didn't even invite us to the ATP votes. Shady Duckers. David Veach says, I hope the Riot Squad are present at this emergency Premier League meeting next week. The Riot Squad. Who would be the Riot Squad?
the Black Mariahs. It's like your SWAT team.
Okay. Gotcha. Random X says, how do you get? Oh, there you go. You already gifted membership. Thank you, Random. Thandeka, first time I'm seeing you, says, Kenny, we exactly City aren't doing anything wrong. They are just defending themselves. There you go.
Yep.
Hills Azar, if APT is deemed unlawful, the APT should be scrapped and shelved. Once the conclusion of unlawful is a verdict, then that's what I believe.
Yep, I agree.
Jimmy
That's why I say we should go right now before they bring new ones in.
Yeah, but I mean it's 1 week, man. What can you do? You can't do anything.
We could fabricate a couple of things, couldn't we? In a week.
I think we have to be careful the way we say this, because, like I say, they said it was written wrong. Doesn't mean that it's unlawful. It's unlawful the way it's written. So I think
it's unlawful.
Yeah, but that's what I said. The what's name was saying that the rules that they're written down are written wrong. Because don't forget there was an APT ruling.
I'm not sure where you're getting that, Gary. The tribunal found that the rules in place were, or the two in particular, the two that Man City won on, they were unlawful. They were anti-competitive and were contravening, I think it was Regulation 18 of the competition law.
Yeah. Okay. So all I'm saying to you is APT was in 21. So why didn't anybody say it was unlawful back then?
Because nobody challenged it then. But it has been challenged now and found to be unlawful.
It's only because, like I say, it's been reworded, and that's what they were saying. It wasn't challenged back then because people were still allowed to go and get sponsors. The Etihad got sponsors with the airlines. Everybody was still allowed to get sponsors. What they've challenged now is the fact that now it's become anti-competitive because of the timeline that it's taken. This, obviously, they're not allowed to show anything that's similar, and the fact that it's been a lot of their, like I say, Man City have had two big sponsors knocked back that they've had in the wings now for over something like 6 months, and that's why they're going in with this claim of 100 and some odd £1 million on lost revenue.
Yes, but they've also introduced, which they were the other one that they were successful in, was in not comparing interest-free loans.
Yeah.
In the same light as
in
well.
The same line, exactly.
Let's go with the comments though. Thandeka again says these rules were brought on to stop other clubs from competing with the cartel.
Absolutely.
AG. It's blatantly a hit at Newcastle. Everything to flounder us. As City are already up there. They can't have another one. They can't have another club like us, like them, or Tenji says after Abramovich was forced to sell, Chelsea, let's face it, have exploited every loophole going and have been given a free pass to rebuild.
Yep.
Tenji also says Anderson was my Longstaff replacement. There you go, matey. Anyways, it's been a wonderful show. Beer Viking, Chris needs to learn about these competition laws for his dodgy price draw. No, man. Everything is legal here, man. Everything is legal. I do.
Have we hit the 3,000?
Oh, let me actually check it out. Let me check it out.
2999. Oh.
It'd be crazy, wouldn't it? 3,000, ladies and gentlemen. On the dot. On the dot, man. Well done. Well done.
Everybody. Thank you so much.
Watch, one numpty will unsubscribe to be funny, and then make it $2.99.
Be a Viking.
It's tomorrow's Friday, so we should have the 3,000 celebration. But we do have a quiz night, which is gonna be a lot of fun. Music, beers, and everything.
It's party time.
It's Friday neat, and we got into the tune. But, we probably have a proper 3,000. So we got to make sure we stay at 3,000. We can't just have 3,001 and then, people unsubscribe because Mighty Wins takes and screws up, man. So, but maybe next week we'll have a celebration. But you know, thank you so much to all of your support. We're a month short of our first year, and we've done decent. So you know, appreciate everybody's support. Don't forget, every match day live match, we have it on here an hour before kickoff for build-ups. The instant match reaction. We have been bringing people to come on and have their say, callers, kind of like TalkSport do, bring in callers to have their opinion, as well as we got the match report later on with the panel, a more in-depth analysis of the matches every night at, you know, usually from 9 to 10 or 10 or whatever. Late night shows. We got the breakfast show at midday UK, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. We got the press conferences. We got, you know, post-match thoughts from Eddie Howe and the lads. So we got a lot on this channel, and also those daily videos that you guys that have been doing well. You know, so thank you so much for your support, and thank you obviously to Mighty Win, thank you to Gary, thank you to DX for the time, thank you to everybody that comes on. You know, like Roy, I'm forgetting a lot of them actually. Even Tim, new guy, Josh has the extra. Amrit in Spain, I think. No, he's not in Spain. Where's he at? He's somewhere. Yeah, well, he's in Spain.
Nova, isn't he?
Amrit, our sideline reporter. You know, we got Josh as well from the American Mags at the 2 a.m. show, 2 a.m. UK, 8 p.m. USA. So, you know, we got a lot of people, Ian as well, and Benjamin, a lot of people working on NTTV. So thank you so much for your support. And Mighty Mag
Andy,
right there.
Of course.
At Andy Bell as well. Yeah, that's right. And Mighty Mag celebrating his 7-month membership right there. Congrats to him, 3,000 subs. There you go. But Mighty Mac, you know, he's been with us since day one. He's been one of our first members. Ian Fleming, Beer Viking as well. Nobody ever thought Beer Viking could be a mod, but he is one. You know, we gave him the opportunity. You know what I mean? Top mind.
Queenie.
Queen, of course, she's
Queen of the Ruffles.
Queen of Heart as well. She had to take a sabbatical, but she came back. Kenny W says, TalkSport, well known for fake callers. No, we don't have no fake callers. By the way, people gave us heat for that one dude, what's his name? No, not Andy. Adam. Remember Mighty Win? Adam. He came on with the heat. He's a Londoner, but you know he's got his opinion.
Sacco.
So you know, yeah, he wanted to how. There was a guy. He just called. He just called in. That was last game. So, but thank you to all of our members and Japadoni as well. There, you know, been a good watcher for a long time. All of you, thank you so much for your support, and please share it with all your Newcastle fans. You know. Ian Fleming says, I did not think beer would be a good mod either. There you go. Beer Viking, watch your profile pictures, man. Leave my man John Sinclair alone. He's a Newcastle United fan through and through, baby. Through and through. But anyways, thank you so much for your support. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye now. How are the